it's a mixture of Jslovers Pune and Cityjs as well. Cityjs is a conference that Aris here has been hosting for the past couple of years, and they've been doing it in India as well. They just did it a couple of days ago in Delhi, and they did it last year as well. So, in case you're interested to Google Cityjs India, which will give you the details about it. So, anyways, yeah, we are here today at Zensar Technologies. Thanks to Zensar for providing this space to us. My name is Akash. I am the writing.dev on the internet, and you can, yeah, I also run a small consultancy. So you can go visit that website to read my technical blogs and stuff like that. Additionally, Zensar is hiring, so you'll see that QR code besides everywhere, which so you can scan it now or take a photo, so you can apply for the jobs that are being posted there. To start with, let's talk about emergency evacuations. So I think there's only one fire exit, which is the same entrance that you came in through. So there's nothing to get confused about there. The toilets are also right besides the entrance. You can ask someone from the Zensar team. They're all sitting there in case you wanna go as well. And yeah, code of conduct. So a code of conduct is very essential to a community. It's essential for us here at Cityjs and at Jslovers as well. I mean, to summarize it, it's that be nice to each other and everyone is welcome here. We never turn anyone away. And in case you're confused, that's the URL which you can read through if you want to learn more about the code of conduct. So now, yeah, let's directly jump into the agenda. We have got 4 talks here. This is quite unique because we've got a lot of learning to do, and I recommend reaching out to each of the speakers here as well in case you want to network with them and learn more about each of the technologies they talk about. So Abhinav, Dhiman will start out with
when we get someone from Zensar to...
Yeah, that's the next slide. So
okay.
Very good. So yeah, Abhinav is starting out. Abhinav will be starting out remotely, and he'll be speaking about ImageKit. So he's the tech lead there, and he'll be teaching us about how we can build a YouTube clone using ImageKit. Then we have Aris, who works at Zensar as well, who's going to be talking about building a React Native app to find toilet rolls. This was a big issue during the pandemic in Western countries like US, UK, Europe, etc. If you didn't know, you can Google about it. There's a lot of interesting stories, and Aris built an app which helped you do that. And then Shweta Ingle will be talking about improving designer workflows using a Figma Notion improved integration. She's from Zensar as well. And then finally, we'll have 2 speakers from Microsoft who will be giving a talk about one of the tools they've built. And so, yeah, I will now ask someone from Zensar to speak about the role that they're hiring for.
Hi, my name is Narottam Das. I'm from the Zensar technical training team. So first, before I go to the role that we are hiring for, I would like to give you a quick intro about Zensar and what we do. So Zensar, does anyone know how old is Zensar? Just guess. 20 years. So we are more than 100 plus years old company. So earlier it was not Zensar, it was some other company which got transformed, and finally we are. But as a company, we are a 100 plus year old company. It started with some hardware related thing, and then we transformed into a IT services company. And currently we are having around 11,000 employees worldwide, and we are located in many geographies. In India, we have offices in Pune, Bangalore, Kolkata, Hyderabad. Apart from that, we have offices in South Africa, in UK, and in US as well, multiple locations in US. So Zensar is predominantly working in all the verticals that we have, be it TMT or manufacturing or BFSI, healthcare. You just name the vertical, we have the presence, we have the client base in all the verticals across geographies. And the service lines that we have are advanced engineering services, where skills like this JavaScript, or if what we call as full stack developers. Okay, all advanced engineering skills come under AES. Then we have a vertical called DE and A, where data engineering and analytics comes. Then we have another vertical called CIS, which is cloud and infrastructure related thing and security. So that is how we have the verticalizations in this. So the service lines and also the verticalizations, right? So so I was trying to talk about this. So we have the JavaScript lead position which is open. So if any one of you is interested in applying, so you can apply for that. So with that, I take a pause and hand it over to you.
Yeah, let's just give a quick round of applause for Zensar as well. So cool. Yes, now we can get started.
So if you go to that YouTube link, because I'm gonna add the first speaker.
Yeah.
It's Abhinav.
Cool. Can you remove me from the?
Am I good to go? Yeah. So, hello everyone. Thanks for being here. It's great to have you all here. And in the next 30 minutes, I'll be guiding you through how to make a YouTube clone using the ImageKit video API. So this is going to be a pretty much fast-paced demo. So let's get it rolling. And I'm sure that you guys have worked with some kind of video APIs or any video streaming plugin.
Abhinav.
We can see him.
Okay.
Yeah. Am I audible? Suppose I am. Okay. So before diving in, let me just let let you guys know a little bit about myself and what ImageKit does. So I'm Abhinav. I'm the tech lead at ImageKit.io, and I've been working with ImageKit for the last 5 years, focusing on building the image and video API. So I'm sure that you guys have worked or actually used applications like Swiggy, but Big Basket, Zepto, Bookmyshow. All of these brands use ImageKit to resize and optimize their images and videos and also deliver them. So let's get right into the demo. So I have a application here that looks a lot like YouTube, and we have a list of videos, and we can go ahead and start streaming any video. Just find it suppose. Once you start streaming the video, you can actually go ahead and change the quality of the video. Now, this is just like we have on YouTube, and this is called adaptive bitrate streaming. Now, this is something that we'll cover later in the talk, and you can also go ahead and upload new videos. So if I say that I will upload a video with the title "For Better Fun," and I'll just copy and paste it just to save a little bit of time. And I'm gonna go ahead and try to upload this video. So as you can see, the video is uploading, and as soon as it gets uploaded, it'll show right there in the listing page that we had. Just give it a second. Yeah, perfect. So we have the video and we have the thumbnail ready here as well, and we can just stream it. So let's talk a little bit about what the major components of an application like YouTube might have. So ideally, anyone who's building an application, they'll have a web interface that's a front end and an application server that's primarily their back end. And they'll have an encoding pipeline attached to some kind of storage. And in this process, one of the most complex things would be the encoding pipeline, because it's supposed to generate the thumbnails, optimize the videos, and later on in the talk, we'll talk about ABS, so generating all the ABS variants. And this is where actually ImageKit comes in. It takes out all the complexity for the developers by providing everyone with a video API that they can just integrate into their application and get things done. And okay, so let me just go ahead. Yeah. So already have a project built out for you guys. If you want to clone and follow along, I'll paste my talk according to that, and we'll get started. So the entire project is split into 4 different steps. Firstly, we'll go ahead and set up our ImageKit account and clone the repository that's there on the screen. I'll add this URL into the chat window as well. Give me a second. So in case anyone wants to share it there. And after cloning the repository, you can just install the dependencies and we can get the server running. So let me just go ahead and do that. Get clone. It'll take a second. I'll go into it. And I'll be using yarn install to install all my dependencies, but you can go ahead and use npm as well, or pnpm if you use that. So once we have that, let's just go ahead and start a server. And yeah, so we have an application. We have a basic boilerplate code that I've already provided, and we can go ahead and get started about this. And this is how the boilerplate is going to look like for you if you're following along, or if you're trying to follow along, actually, since I'm moving a little bit faster. Okay, so let's go ahead and start with adding new files. Let's start with upload. So to upload a file, what will usually happen is that the front end will send a request to the back end, which will process all the videos and save it. And you are essentially downloading the entire binary of the upload on your servers. So ImageKit works a little differently. How you will be implementing upload in this is just anyone who's uploading a video is going to first send a request to your application server that's going to generate a secure signature. Now, this signature is used to validate your request and actually authenticate your account at ImageKit, and that's how all the images and videos get uploaded at ImageKit. And there is a server-side API endpoint also if you want to use that, but we'll be leveraging the client side. And let me just go ahead and open the code. Yeah. So we have a project right here, and for the upload and the other processes, we'll be using the Next.js SDK to implement it, and we'll follow along the ImageKit docs that we have here. And let's just go through the docs once. So we have setting up the ImageKit Next.js SDK. Let's go ahead and do that. So we have to install this dependency. If you clone the repository that I shared, you can just go ahead and it's already installed actually. I've already included it in the package.json file. And since we can go ahead to the next step now. Now we need to define a env.local file that contains the basic configurations for your account. So let's just go ahead and copy the sample file into env.local. And we can see that we need some values here. And we'll get those values from our ImageKit account. So let's go down to the developer options, and we have the URL endpoint right here. So let's just go and add that. Next, we'll add a public key, and then we'll add a private key. So for private keys, as you can see that I have a pop-up that requires me to enter a password. But if you sign in via Google or any other method, you'll be required to set up a password for you to get the private key. Now that process is very seamless. You'll see a set password pop up right there. And yeah, so as soon as I updated the env local file, the server picked it up and we should be good to go here. And what's the next step? Okay, now let's directly jump to uploading the videos. So ImageKit Next.js SDK provides you with a component called IK upload. Now the IK upload is essentially an input element with file type, and let's go ahead and try to implement that. For that, we need to set up the backend application as we just spoke about, that to upload images or any kind of file to ImageKit, your application server needs to generate a secure upload signature. So let's go ahead and do that. For this, we'll be using the ImageKit Node.js SDK. It's fairly documented. We'll be just using the function called get authentication parameters. This is specifically to generate the client-side upload. So let's just go ahead into the code and implement that. I'll go into the authentication file that I've already created, and I'll say imagekit.get authentication parameters. Okay, so let's test it out. API ImageKit auth. So as we can see, the ImageKit SDK generated three values, that is a token, expiry, and signature. Now, token and expiry are configurable by the backend. We can go ahead and add any custom token or expiry that is in the future, depending on your use cases. And similarly, okay, so we have the authentication sorted. Let's move on to the next step. Now it tells me to go ahead and configure the public key and an authenticator to be used in ImageKit provider. Okay, what is ImageKit provider? Now, in React, it is very standard to have a provider that holds all your values as a global store. So ImageKit SDK provides you with an provider that can be initialized with the basic values, that is your public key and your URL endpoint. These values are referenced whenever you are generating a URL or just showing an image or even uploading an image. And there's a third parameter here called authenticator. Now, authenticator is just a function that returns a promise, and which we will use to fetch the signatures from our backend. Now, as an application, this can do anything that is required to secure the endpoint. It can be some kind of user authentication. It can be some kind of header-based query params, anything that you feel like your application uses. So we have a normal fetch request here that's just gonna get the signature from the endpoint and return it as a JSON. So once we have that, let's go ahead and actually upload a file. So let's go ahead into the upload file here and remove the existing input box that we have that's there as in the boilerplate, and uncomment this code that is right here. Sorry. So as we can see that we have an IK upload component that I spoke about earlier with some of the HTML React based props, and there are some other props that are available here. Now these props are mostly the upload API parameters, and similarly we have three events here that we can use to actually show any kind of progress on our React application or any kind of application that you're using. Be it Angular, we have an Angular SDK for that. Be it a normal JavaScript vanilla JavaScript application running on an HTML page, we have an SDK for that as well. So we have these events. These events are available in all the SDKs. And we have something called as a custom metadata here. So I'd like to take like 30 seconds of time to talk about what that is. Now, whenever you are implementing an application like this, you are not just saving any video, you're saving some kind of content with it. So like you have a title and description. Now I could have gone ahead and implemented a database that saves all these values in this demo, but to save a little time and make it a little smoother, we'll be using custom metadata fields that are provided by ImageKit. Now these fields are basically a key value store, and you can assign them to the file, and every time you fetch the file from any of our APIs, you will get this data and you can start using it. So I have just went ahead and set these values here, and I will also uncomment a piece of code I have here that just shows the progress. And let's refresh this once just to make sure it's properly loaded, and let's try and upload for better fun. And let's select the file we have here. So once this, let's give it a minute to get uploaded. Shouldn't take this long. Yeah, perfect. So we have the video uploaded, the upload told us, but for some reason we don't see the video here. Now, the reason we don't see the video here is because these files or these videos that you can see here, they're coming from a hard-coded JSON file. So let's just go ahead and change that API endpoint that we've created in our next app to use the ImageKit Node.js SDK again to get the files from the /cityjs videos folder, and we'll sort this by latest. And this Cityjs videos folder is the same folder that we uploaded to over here. You can see here. So let's go ahead and try to refresh this and see if the files show. Perfect. We have the two files that we uploaded here. So the first one was in the demo and the other one's here, and we just uploaded. And okay, so we have the files here, but we don't have the thumbnails. So generating video thumbnails with ImageKit is as easy as just suffixing the video URL with ik thumbnail.jpg. Let's just go ahead and do that. I'll say that thumbnail URL is imagekit.url, and we'll say that the path is file path slash ik thumbnail .jpg, and I'll add a query parameter to ensure that this is the latest thumbnail that we're fetching. There's no kind of caching happening. You hit file.created at .get time.toString. Perfect. So as soon as I update this and refresh over here, we should start seeing thumbnails. Not seeing thumbnails. Yeah, these thumbnails have started to load. Now, thumbnail generation and a couple of video APIs are async processes, so they might take a couple of seconds to generate. Like we can see that some of the thumbnails are generated. These are taking a little while. Yeah, so let's just hope they generate on time. Okay, and now let's go ahead and try to play the video. Now, to play the video, we actually need some kind of API that will give us the file rather than returning the file from the hard-coded JSON. So let's just go ahead and remove that and add this in here. And once we have that, and we try to open any video, we can see that the video here, we can start playing. But for a second there, you would have realized that the poster of this video is not the thumbnail. So we just go ahead and add the same code that we had there, and let's add it there. And I'm going to change this to updated ad actually. Yeah, that's better. So let's just go ahead and refresh this. Give it a second. Yeah. So we have the thumbnail ready here, and we can just start streaming. So now let me talk a little bit about adaptive bitrate streaming. That's the quality selector you get on YouTube. Now, adaptive bitrate streaming is basically like you have a large video and you have a full 1080p video that is not ideally streamable on someone using 3G. Now, even like a 4K video that won't work on 3G without buffering and loading, and people will get annoyed while watching the videos. Now, what do we do? The idea behind adaptive bitrate streaming is that if anyone's on a lower bandwidth, the video player or anything will adapt to the network conditions. Okay, so basically what happens is you have a 1080p video, you're gonna split it up, not exactly split it up, generate variations of it. And once you have these variations, you're gonna send them to your to your users, depending on what network are they on. If they're like on a 3G network, if you're traveling somewhere, like you have 4G, but you're traveling somewhere and your network keeps on going up and down, there are spikes in it. So at that point of time, sometimes you're loading a 1080p video, sometimes you're loading a 720p video, sometimes 480p video. That way, the users can get a consistent experience what they're watching, and they're not held up by some network limitation. We for implementing adaptive bitrate streaming, there are two protocols that we have available. We have HLS and Dash. Now, HLS uses something called as a M3 U8 playlist, and Dash uses an MPD playlist. I have the M3 U8 playlist right here. Now, these playlists are nothing but a text file that contains information about the variations that we have generated of the original video. So, like we had a proper 1080p video, we've generated 240p, 360, 480, and 720 resolutions with smaller bitrate. Now, the bitrate is the deciding factor as to which resolution to deliver to the user. And okay, how do we implement adaptive bitrate streaming without actually breaking a sweat or getting held up in the complex algorithms required to process these videos in your encoding pipeline? To generate an HLS playlist with ImageKit, it is just as simple as adding a suffix called ikmaster.m3u8 or ikmaster.mpd. Now, we've already discussed that M3U8 is HLS, MPD is Dash. The difference between these two protocols depends on the use case. ImageKit has a very amazing blog. You can just search it on Google, you'll find it there. And okay, about implementing it, we add a suffix and we add something known as a transformation string in the query parameters. Now, transformation strings are very powerful tool that you have in your arsenal when working with ImageKit, but I'm not going to cover the entirety of it. Now, these transformation strings allow you to transform a video from video or even an image into changing sizes, you're cropping them, you're applying overlays, any kind of stuff. So for Dash, for actually adaptive bitrate streaming, there is a required transformation that we have to send while generating it. It's called streaming resolution or SR. And in that, you will specify what resolution variations do you want to generate. We support up to 4K, and we might support larger in the future also, depending on if it comes as a use case. But let's go ahead and try to implement those URLs here. And so we are generating a URL using the ImageKit SDK, similar to how we were generating for thumbnails. And we have the IK master. We are saying that the streaming resolution is all this. And we will just replace it right over here. And once you do that, you should actually go ahead and start seeing the videos here. But first, whenever you request a new variation of a video, it takes a while for us at ImageKit try to actually process the video. So you might get a 200 to accepted response. That's us telling you that we are still processing it. So let me just go ahead and try to. Okay, it's still processing. It takes a while, 32. Yeah, URL is correct. Yeah, it takes a while, 30 seconds to 1 minute. And meanwhile, let me show you how you can actually avoid this and start generating these variations as soon as you upload. So in the upload component, I have a commented out code that I didn't spoke about earlier. That's basically applying a post transformation and understanding that these, and it's basically telling us as soon as the upload is done, just create these playlists and let me know when it's done. So how are we gonna let you know? So for that, we use webhooks, and we're gonna just, whenever you upload with a post transformation, it goes onto ImageKit, we send you a success webhook as soon as it is done, and you can save it in your application server and continue with it. Right. So let me just go ahead and start an ngrok server. Just close this. Yeah. So Let me just go ahead and start an ngrok server. Now, ngrok is something elite that allows us to get the webhooks on our system. And once we have that, if we try to upload the video for better joyrides, and we copy that, we'll add that here, we'll send this file. So as soon as this upload is finished, it will start generating the ABS playlist. And once it's done, it's gonna send us a webhook as to that, okay, this is ready. You can go ahead and start streaming it. Oh, what happened? Oh yeah. I think my network was the issue. Yeah. So let's go ahead. It's still loading. It's still generating the transformation because we don't have a webhook that's shown up here. So it'll take a while. Meanwhile, we can do one thing. Since we in the webhook, oh, we forgot to implement it actually. Let's go ahead and implement that. We have the file ID req.body.data.file ID, and we'll say await ImageKit update file ID details, and we'll delete custom metadata, and we'll say that the ABS is ready. Okay, I hope the webhook didn't show up. Oh, it did. Let me just replay it so that to make sure it works. Yeah. So we have the file here. Let's go ahead and try to reload it. So we have the video playing, but we're missing the quality selector. Let's go ahead and add that in also. Now, Video.js already gives you the ability to add in the quality selector, and we can just go ahead and refresh this page. So we have all the variations here, and we can try changing it depending on what our network speed is, and it'll start streaming that particular variant. And yeah, what else? Yeah. So when we uploaded a new video, there might come a case when we don't want to break the user experience. We can obviously show a loading screen, but we can just go ahead and use the custom metadata again for the value that I set in the webhook, and like that uses the custom metadata value and delivers a endpoint that is ABS compatible. If that value is not set, it'll send the normal URL so that you can actually just go and start streaming the video. And yeah, so that's it from my end. And I do have the project that we worked on publicly on a GitHub repo. You can also go ahead and check out the final code in the final repository, final branch that has the working boilerplate ready, working project ready. So you guys can go and explore it in whatever field where you feel. So thank you. That's it from my end.
Can you hear me?
About
I'm gonna mute my screen because otherwise we get an echo. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
So are we gonna ask the people some questions? Do you have any questions? Okay, there's some questions. Can you pass the mic?
Yeah. Can you see Aris, by the way? I think you can, right?
Yeah, you can see me here.
Yeah.
So if you can mute your mic when we are talking, so then you can hear, and then we do that. So, okay. So, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Am I audible?
Can you hear them? Yes.
Yeah. Okay. It's regarding just the product. I just like I think it is specifically aiming a front end only. Right? It is who's like only like for example Swiggy and all that would want to show the like presentation for example like image process and the video. So like to build this product, what kind of challenge you face? Because it is like I think it is a hard job to like manage the different resolution and different according to security. Can you just give your experience on that?
Okay, so I'll just repeat the question if I understand it correctly. It's mostly about my experience at ImageKit to what challenges I faced while making a product, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So at ImageKit, we tend to solve a lot of difficult problems that we have, and one of the problems being serving up a solution that is ready for scale. Now we have brands like Swiggy, Zepto, Book My Show. Now these brands get millions of requests a day, and making sure the systems are ready for it, and making sure all of the processing happens in as minimal time as possible. For videos, we tend to aim somewhere around less than a minute to process any videos. And there are some real-time APIs that we have available. That's mostly images resizing. And recently, we've actually introduced another thing. We've introduced AI transformations. Now, these will let you modify the uh, image by just going ahead and removing the background or changing the background into something entirely different. And you can actually go ahead and generate a new video from scratch if that's what you want. And that's something you can do using the ImageKit API. Now, these have been a little trickier to implement with uh, a couple of things and making sure they're ready for scale. But yeah, we have a pretty good team. We are pretty confident in solving these problems, and we're pretty much banging our heads every day to get things done. Anything
Is
else?
AI helping in your product? Like what kind of anything like how it is helping in the AI in your product?
So I'll show it to you here. Give me, yeah. Apparently I can take my screen properly. So we've just recently actually started to serve the AI features. Now there are a couple of features that are centric to the dashboard and the DAM. That is mostly like searching using the images and using like native text to search for your assets in the DAM. Apart from that, in the field of real-time processing and media optimization, we have generative image generation. Then we have background removal. We have change background. We have generating variations. We have AI upscaling. Like if you have a 200 by 200 video and image, and you want to use that as a 1024 by 1024 filler, so you can just go ahead and write a transformation that upscales the images for you. Now, all of these are available in the documentation. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn or any other platform. I'll be happy to show you how those are done.
Oh, more questions.
Yeah, pretty good.
How much time do you have, Aris?
Let's do another two questions and then we have to go. Two more questions.
Okay.
Don't fight for the questions.
Hello everyone. So my question is that, sir, that if we are using this image kit on a front end, so the videos and the images, where we are storing all this, and how fast it's connecting with our project or the front end.
Okay. So the transformation and all of these things get stored in object cache that we have. And apart from that, any file that you upload goes into an object storage like S3. And apart from that, ImageKit offers you a bring your own storage model. Now, if you already have like thousands of photos in your uh, is Azure bucket or Google Cloud or even Amazon AWS, you can just go ahead and add in the keys on the dashboard, and your images will get starting to deliver using ImageKit. Sorry.
Okay,
So I hope
next
that
one.
answers the question.
Okay, that's it. So we will take a little break we have some snacks that they are offered from Zensar, and then I will do my talk. Okay? 10 minutes. Okay?
We're going on the 10 minutes break. And
Okay.
yeah, don't feel afraid to, or don't feel shy to network with each other. I know when we started, we were just sitting down, but now we can start talking to each other as well. Good.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, everyone. Bye.
Zensar is home to curious, innovative, and passionate minds. We have some of the best techno-functional talent collaborating with marquee clients to develop solutions that solve complex business problems. We walk the talk on our people-first philosophy. We foster an environment of open communication and encourage our employees to express themselves freely. The leadership of Zensar is easily accessible to one and all. We have a passion for excellence. The focus of every Zensarian is client delight through execution excellence. At Zensar, you get the opportunity to work with amazing team members and will have a whole world of opportunity to reach your optimum potential. The reward and recognition mechanisms ensures that every Zensarian gets due credit for the work they perform. The focus on holistic development enables Zensarians to have meaningful and purposeful careers. If you have the ambition to be the very best version of yourself, then Zensar is the place to be. Zensar is home to curious, innovative, and passionate minds. We have some of the best techno-functional talent collaborating with marquee clients to develop solutions that solve complex business problems. We walk the talk on our people-first philosophy. We foster an environment of open communication and encourage our employees to express themselves freely. The leadership of Zensar is easily accessible to one and all. We have a passion for excellence. The focus of every Zensarian is client delight through execution excellence. At Zensar, you get the opportunity to work with amazing team members and will have a whole world of opportunity to reach your optimum potential. The reward and recognition mechanisms ensures that every Zensarian gets due credit for the work they perform. The focus on holistic development enables Zensarians to have meaningful and purposeful careers. If you have the ambition to be the very best version of yourself, then Zensar is the place to be. Zensar is home to curious, innovative, and passionate minds. We have some of the best techno-functional talent collaborating with marquee clients to develop solutions that solve complex business problems. We walk the talk on our people-first philosophy. We foster an environment of open communication and encourage our employees to express themselves freely. The leadership of Zensar is easily accessible to one and all. We have a passion for excellence. The focus of every Zensarian is client delight through execution excellence. At Zensar, you get the opportunity to work with amazing team members and will have a whole world of opportunity to reach your optimum potential. The reward and recognition mechanisms ensures that every Zensarian gets due credit for the work they perform. The focus on holistic development enables Zensarians to have meaningful and purposeful careers. If you have the ambition to be the very best version of yourself, then Zensar is the place to be. Zensar is home to curious, innovative, and passionate minds. We have some of the best techno-functional talent collaborating with marquee clients to develop solutions that solve complex business problems. We walk the talk on our people-first philosophy. We foster an environment of open communication and encourage our employees to express themselves freely. The leadership of Zensar is easily accessible to one and all. We have a passion for excellence. The focus of every Zensarian is client delight through execution excellence. At Zensar, you get the opportunity to work with amazing team members and will have a whole world of opportunity to reach your optimum potential. The reward and recognition mechanisms ensures that every Zensarian gets due credit for the work they perform. The focus on holistic development enables Zensarians to have meaningful and purposeful careers. If you have the ambition to be the very best version of yourself, then Zensar is the place to be. Zensar is home to curious, innovative, and passionate minds. We have some of the best techno-functional talent collaborating with marquee clients to develop solutions that solve complex business problems. We walk the talk on our people-first philosophy. We foster an environment of open communication and encourage our employees to express themselves freely. The leadership of Zensar is easily accessible to one and all. We have a passion for excellence. The focus of every Zensarian is client delight through execution excellence. At Zensar, you get the opportunity to work with amazing team members and will have a whole world of opportunity to reach your optimum potential. The reward and recognition mechanisms ensures that every Zensarian gets due credit for the work they perform. The focus on holistic development enables Zensarians to have meaningful and purposeful careers. If you have the ambition to be the very best version of yourself, then Zensar is the place to be. Zensar is home to curious, innovative, and passionate minds. We have some of the best techno-functional talent collaborating with marquee clients to develop solutions that solve complex business problems. We walk the talk on our people-first philosophy. We foster an environment of open communication and encourage our employees to express themselves freely. The leadership of Zensar is easily accessible to one and all. We have a passion for excellence. The focus of every Zensarian is client delight through execution excellence. At Zensar, you get the opportunity to work with amazing team members and will have a whole world of opportunity to reach your optimum potential. The reward and recognition mechanisms ensures that every Zensarian gets due credit for the work they perform. The focus on holistic development enables Zensarians to have meaningful and purposeful careers. If you have the ambition to be the very best version of yourself, then Zensar is the place to be. Zensar is home to curious, innovative, and passionate minds. We have some of the best techno-functional talent collaborating with marquee clients to develop solutions that solve complex business problems. We walk the talk on our people-first philosophy. We foster an environment of open communication and encourage our employees to express themselves freely. The leadership of Zensar is easily accessible to one and all. We have a passion for excellence. The focus of every Zensarian is client delight through execution excellence. At Zensar, you get the opportunity to work with amazing team members and will have a whole world of opportunity to reach your optimum potential. The reward and recognition mechanisms ensures that every Zensarian gets due credit for the work they perform. The focus on holistic development enables Zensarians to have meaningful and purposeful careers. If you have the ambition to be the very best version of yourself, then Zensar is the place to be. Zensar is home to curious, innovative, and passionate minds. We have some of the best techno-functional talent collaborating with marquee clients to develop solutions that solve complex business problems. We walk the talk on our people-first
And yeah, he's been hosting these conferences for how long now?
Let me mute my computer 1 second.
No, I just muted it. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
So I have been doing Cityjs for the past 7 years, and I have like a friend of mine here from when I used to work for BT, British Telecoms, Aris, and this is the second time I come to India. The previous time I came to Bangalore, and it was the first time for me to come to New Delhi. The first time to come in Pune. And I do know Niha, that's the organizer Jslovers, and she's the one that started Jslovers in India. So yeah, this talk is a talk I did already in a conference. I've done a version of it before during the pandemic, but it's a new version. Okay, so yeah, for those, let me see if I can. I need to put it into presentation mode so I can go to the next slide. 1 second. Why doesn't go? Okay, but present. Okay, I just press the present button. That easy. So for those who don't know me, my name is Aris. I have a very long surname. Don't try to remember it, but if you do, it's a very good thing. I'm a front-end developer. I've been doing this for a long time. I'm the founder and organizer of Cityjs conference. I work for Foolproof. It's based in London. It has other places in around the world, in South Africa, and the mother company is Zensar. Okay, it's great to be here in the mother company and presenting it to you. From time to time, I do talks. I also teach in the university in London, at City University. And I'm very looking forward to connecting with this community. So, this is a project I built during the pandemic. It's called, it was for a hackathon. How many of you do side projects? Okay, this was a side project. It was pandemic, it was gonna be pandemic. I was feeling a bit sad. Everything was locking down. I was going back home with a tube. I was really, really sad. I approached some friends and I told them, let's do something about it. Let's build an app. Let's do what we know. Okay? So there was a website. There is a website actually. This is called DevPost. Do you know DevPost? Yes. So DevPost is a very good place. You can do hackathons, and with DevPost you can win prizes. Okay. So there was an EU, EU, Europe, right? An EU project for like for the coronavirus. So I thought, okay, I'm gonna develop a little app that it will find the stuff that we're missing at the moment. So I'm gonna play a few videos so you can get into the spirit. And the first one is from my friend of mine, Hal. London is very multicultural. I have friends from all different countries, from all different places around the world, which I like. And Hal is like, he says, my habibi. So he's a very, very good friend. So listen. Does this sound work? Does that come through mine? No.
Maybe if you share with audio and then.
Okay, let me share with audio. Let's try that. Sorry, sometimes there are like little problems. So, where is it? But I do have my audio.
It needs to be your.
Okay, now let's try now. Come on. Okay, so that was a COVID shopper. So with this project, I involved other people from my family. So that's Lucy, my wife, and that's her sister. So let's see how COVID shopper works. So you're gonna get a full demo. So when you So now you know a bit what the app does, right? So this is the little app that I built during weekend, okay? And so initially I started building it with React. Then I realized that if you are outside, you cannot really bring your laptop and start typing. You need to go mobile. So as a React developer, I have to use something that I can code. That was React Native, okay? And for the backend, I used Prisma. How many do you know Prisma? Okay, a few, that's good. So, because I believe that we are all, well, we say we are front ends, but we are full stack, okay? With Prisma, you can easily become a full stack developer. Let's have a look and see how you can do that. Also, as a database, I use SQLite, but with Prisma, you can use even Postgres. You can use any database that you want. So, yeah, this is the thing. As a React developer, you can develop native apps. It's like a big skill to have, right? It's mind-blowing. So, there are other solutions besides Prisma. TypeORM, SQLize, Hasura, and now you can use Platformatic. I don't know if you know Matecolina. So he's a person that is in the Node.js steering committee, and he's been developing a new solution called Platformatic. And it's not an ORM, but it's very similar. Okay, so we just go through and we analyze the app and we see how it works, and I can take you through the code. Okay, and I have to say that this app I built it 3 years ago. So during the summer, I was spending a lot of time trying to get it back together, but there were a lot of libraries that they have been changed, and I had to do a lot of work to recover it. So, how do we install Prisma? So you can see the commands, and then if you wanted to try it later, you can just follow my notes, and you can do it. Okay, so Prisma is type safe, which means it uses TypeScript from the get-go, like from the beginning. Okay, so it means that you first install Prisma, then you install TypeScript, and use all the types for the node and everything, and then you install Prisma, and then you initialize Prisma. Okay, you have to add your configuration file. Okay, for the TypeScript, your tsconfig, and then this is the cool part, that you specify the database that you want to use. In my example, I use SQLite, and you can define the location of that file. Then you can, let's go, we have a schema, which means that my application has stores. So I don't need to go and create the tables. I can go and do like from the top to bottom approach, where I define the schema, and then when I run a command, it's going to generate the database. So I don't need to generate the database, it will generate it for me. Okay, so in this one, we have a model. It has the coordinates, it's their string. It has a date, it's datetime, so you can see. And then it has also relationships, so you can say that there are many stores with items. So those, you also define them here. Can you see? And you reference the keys. So you can, this is the store, this is the item, this is the store on items. So you define all of that. And then once you run this command, npx prisma migrate, it will create a database for you. Okay, so you need to install then the Prisma client, and then from that point onwards, you're using the Prisma client to do all the CRUD functions: create, read, update, delete. Okay, you don't need to do any SQL statements, and it works in a way like GraphQL, so you can pick only the data that you require. Okay, so when we run this Prisma generate, what it does, it reads the schema, then it goes, it generates, and then it updates the migration. So every time you want to change something, you run another migration, you do generate, it generates a new client. So that it was about Prisma. Now, I'm using React Native. How many of you have used React Native? Okay, that's good. Very good. So I started using geolocation. Have you used geolocation before? Yes. What I was struggling a lot, and I will show you my example, is that I was expecting that Expo will give me the current location. But the current location, I thought it was automatically picking my location. When I was running it, I was in Greece. But the current location of Expo was giving me San Francisco. I spent days and days trying to find why it's giving me San Francisco when I'm not in San Francisco. So what you have to do, you have to open the simulator and go in the location and put your actual longitude and latitude, because you think it is automatically given to you, but it isn't. It's gonna be when you deploy to the Apple Store. So what we see here is the get location async. For this one, I'm using the location that I get from the Expo location, and with that location dot get current position, I'm getting the current position that I am. So when people are using the phone, they will be able to get the current location. What the app was supposed to do is, if someone is visiting the Pune town, center, and is looking for something, it will detect that you are in Pune, and then you will put the store that you are looking for, and it will give you where you can find the stuff that you are looking for. So to do that, we need to use this kind of helper that will give us the coordinates that we are looking for, okay? So let's hold that. So this one, so basically what happens, we are getting the current location, we're connecting with the Fusion API, okay? In this video you can see a bit of code, but I can push it back and forth. So what we can see here, I'm typing pharmacy. Okay, let's pause it there. So what it happens, it contacts like a third-party library system. It gets the Fusion API stores. You can see them here. There's a collection of objects inside an array called businesses. That returns to me in the app, and here I'm printing in the React Native the stores. I can click one of them and then specify that I was looking for masks. I found them on this store, on this location, and there are 150 people outside waiting. So I can see if I'm gonna be able to find the missing good. This app could be also used by old people that they don't have the energy to go really far and they are looking for something, and they can use, if it was launched, they could use this kind of app to find where they can find the bread, what is the nearest location, because not everybody can walk like we do. They you know what I mean, right? They need, or maybe somebody can find it for them. But I just give you some ideas. So this is what it prints here, okay? On the other side, now we're gonna see how we can create data in Prisma. So the app, so what we do, this is, how many of you do you know post, put, you know all these kind of methods, right? So when we are saving data, we are using post. When we are getting data, we use what? Get. Okay, some teaching also. Okay, so this we use post because we are getting the data. So we are saving this to our database. Can you see? Store, Prisma store, create, data to add, and we are adding the store name, the location, the coordinates, the date. But all you can see, if I try to save something that in my schema, I said it was a string, but now I'm trying to save a number, Prisma will give me an error. So it will avoid to save data in the database. So that the type safety that I spoke about. If everything goes well, I'm gonna get a 200, and then I'm gonna send it back to my mobile app. What you see here is from the backend code, okay? So yeah, this is what I spoke about, type safety. So in this example, you can see that. So we save the data. Now we go to the other screen and we are trying in the map to find where these products are, okay? So we are getting the current location with that function that I showed you. Then we are querying the data, because when I put here toilet roll, and this is when I did the talk in Alicante, it will give me the point in the location that it has the toilet roll. And then it will print here the exact address. But that's how that works. The map will connect with that function, get the current location, and then it will print all the points in the map within that location. Okay? So then it will display that data. So this is the map view component. I've tried to use it with Google Maps, but it's very fiddly. You have to run some commands and then you need to copy some stuff in the Google folder. In a way, you have to run it as a pure native app, but this works with a native iOS map. So you can see here the current location, longitude and latitude, and then here you can see the markers. So I'm doing like a map, and then I'm creating the markers, those markers that you saw here. 1 minute. So this component is the map view. So read. So we did post. Now we're gonna read the database. So what we saw now, it requires that we do a call to the database and we do a read. So how we do that? So we do a get, because post and get, right? And in that post, we run the Prisma client and we do Prisma store. As you can see, because I have created a schema and the schema has stores items, in the Prisma client, I can write Prisma dot store. It's the name of the entity that I had in the schema. And then I can use a function called find many, and I can pass the stuff that I'm looking. No, I don't need to pass anything here. Actually, it gives me all for those coordinates that I'm using. So then it just print the results. Okay? So with Prisma, you can do some filtering. So select this from where, we all know that, right? So this is the word. So you can add the word and you can specify the missing item. Okay? So it's quite nice. So yeah, this is the talk, but I can go through the code here. So there are two apps. This is the Prisma app. So at the moment, let me run the terminal. 1 second. Again, zoom. Yeah, we'll zoom. So to run the app, I need to run npx ts node index ts. Once I run it, yes, I think I need to run. 1 second. Control C. Yes. What does it do? No. NV. 1 second. Let me go to the correct version of Node. NVM use 20. Oh, what's wrong with it? No. NPX. So this one. No, wait. This is the Prisma one. So the Prisma one. If we go to the packagation, the command that we need to start is npm run start. So once we do that, we start running Expo, and then if I press I, I'm gonna get the iOS. So it should load the opening on iOS. So that it loads It loads this one. So downloading the app and everything. It's a simple app. It's not like very complicated, but I think that if you don't want to do like games or stuff like that, React Native is quite good, and it has gone through a big phase. If you check the Cityjs website, there are some talks that they talk how the React Native can now be cross environment. It can go also web. So this is the app. So this is where you can search for a store. So this is the map. As you can see here, it's loading Pune. But to do that, you need to go to location and change the current location, and then I have to put the coordinates for Pune. When you deploy the app, it will have the coordinates for the actual city that you are. And then there is a second app that I run at the same time that runs the backend, and this is the one. So you can see here that we have an API call that does this is for saving the data. This is for getting the items. So you can see app post. So it's a full stack app. But I have a client app, which is the mobile app, and I have the server app that runs the node. So everything runs in the index.ts. And then here you get the items, here you get the stores, and here you get a specific store, and yeah, here you get the points that we see in the map. So you can see that I'm doing I'm doing like search, and then I'm passing the client. This is the Yelp. So I want to use Yelp, but you can use something else as well. So Yelp has an API called Yelp Fusion. And you can use Yelp Fusion, and you send the longitude and latitude, and then, so basically your current location, and you can query items or stores or things, and you can use that third party to load. But there are more APIs that you can use for that. So yeah, this is how it works. And that's my talk. Any questions? Thank you.
So you talked about you're using Fusion API to query and get the all businesses around all the items which are available at those businesses. So how do you ensure that you are getting the most recent or the latest data of these businesses in a particular city? Because as far as I know, like maybe this would be happening.
This was a hackathon, so I didn't. So it's not you might think it's a real app.
Okay.
It was an app that I built for a hackathon. So if you have to do more, you have to add more stuff to it to make sure that you are checking things. You check the latest. So yeah.
Okay. Right. So it's just a temporary data, and then you can just use.
Yes.
It. Right. Thank you.
Any other questions? Hello. As React Native apps can be built using Expo and React Native CLI, right? By using Expo, the app runs on Expo Go app, and but if you build using CLI, it runs on simulator.
Yes.
So you have an issue of location, getting location through an Expo app.
Yeah.
So why didn't you use a CLI or React Native CLI?
I started using the CLI, and I found it very complicated.
Okay.
And with the Expo, it was much more easier, I think. And also, with the Expo, you used to have the ability to use to scan a QR code on your phone and to load the app on your actual
Right.
device. So if you want to give someone to try the app on their mobile phone, you can give them they can download Expo and they can run it there. So that it was a big advantage.
Can't we just pick up the IP address of the phone and get the location faster? Can't there is a way?
Yeah, I mean that was not like an issue because, but obviously when you deploy it, there are ways that you can. While I was doing the app now in the summer, I found out that there is an eject mechanism in Expo, which gives you the two directories for iOS and Android, and you can go and change a few things. So it's like the React, the Create React app, that you had that eject mechanism, and you could eject and change a few things, because we cannot. That's one thing to say. You cannot always rely on these kind of systems to do the job for you. Sometimes you need to know as an engineer how to make the changes yourself. So because this is a native app, sometimes you have to put your hands dirty in the native aspect of it, right? Even in the CLI, you probably have to do the same, because not everything that they have created for you, it's going to work like a miracle. So yeah. Also, another advice to give is I used a library that it was more like a design system, and it had buttons and stuff like that. 3 years later, that app, that library, it was stopped being maintained. And all the buttons that I have in the entire app, they stopped working, which means that there are certain decisions that you have to make as a developer. Is that if you are creating something, be mindful of which libraries that you are using, because you might use something that down the line you might need to go and change all the code that you have. And when we're using UI, don't use libraries, just do it vanilla. So React Native has already, it has already buttons and lists and stuff, so you don't have to use a third-party library. That's what I'm saying.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Hello. Sir, I was creating an application for crime solving application. I was having a doubt that from at a single point, I wanted to notify the users, different users that, for example, in Pune, in Harasal, there is a crime happened, and from there, around 5 kilometers radius, everyone having that application should get notified. So I think it is a little bit similar that different kind of nodes should be connected with each other, and how can I get some notified to that different application, different users? You should be having an idea about it.
I think it does have notifications, the React Native. So the mobile apps, they have notifications. So you should be able to perform some actions and notify the users. But maybe I don't know, like if I'm the best person to tell you that, because 1 second, let me quit that, because this was I'm not like a specialist React Native, but I do know there are notifications for it. Is that what you're asking me? Okay. So the model of this app was that as a person, you are going to a store, you are finding something, right? You are saving what you found, because we are running as a community. So if I have found toilet rolls and I'm a good citizen, I will want to inform other people. So there were two screens. One screen was the one that you were saving what you found. And there was the other screen that is the screen that people can search for things. So you don't physically notifying them, but if the person has put some, I'm looking for bread right now, you could create a notification in your mobile app to say that the bread has been found near your location. So you could use the notifications of the mobile native apps to notify the person that something has been found. So yes, because we are storing the item and the location. So basically here, that's the whole point. We are saving the store name, wait a second, and the items. So we are saving in the database the items. Then on the other side, we can get the items. You got it? Good. Other questions? One more, okay.
Yeah, final question.
So what is the scope of the location that it checks by nearby location? Is it custom?
So so basically, let's go back to this, okay? But obviously, some things are not working right now. But you can see here, dismissal. You can see here that we want to alert others, okay? Yeah, we want to alert others. So I say that I want to find a store. Let's say I'm in Walmart right now, right? Okay, I type Walmart there, and then I'm writing that I found masks. When I press here, add store, it adds the store that I found the items and the actual location of that store. When you go back here and you try to find the items, if you do a search for masks, because those products and the stores have been saved in the database, it will load them in the map so you know how far you are from that destination. But everything has one source of truth, one database. So the alert saves the products and the stores. This screen gets the locations where the products are. Make sense?
So just a question adding to that. So do you really send a notification or inform the users in the real time?
We don't inform the users.
The user just has to go to the other screen where.
But we could do that. It could be, you could also, if anybody has a free time, you can extend this and you can add the notification where if I save my preferences, then I can be notified that this item has been found. Let's say if there is like a rare Michael Jordan shoe and you want to find it, you could say that I'm looking for that shoe. If someone brings it and I'm looking for it, notify me, right? But this, you need to add more code to do notification on the app. Good? Okay, so any other questions? No.
I think we should bring the next speaker on.
So we're gonna bring the next speaker on.
Before we get started, I think someone else is waiting outside this person's friend, so you don't need to do nothing.
He has registered, but he is not allowed because his name is not found in the list.
Shweta, can you share your slides, please?
Yeah, sure. Give me a second, please. Have you see my slides? Hello. Hello. Am I audible? Hello. Hello.
Zensar is home to curious, innovative, and passionate minds. We have some of the best techno-functional talent collaborating with marquee clients to develop solutions that solve complex business problems. We walk the talk on our people-first philosophy. We foster an environment of open communication and encourage our employees to express themselves freely. The leadership of Zensar is easily accessible to one and all. We have a passion for excellence. The focus of every Zensarian is client delight through execution excellence. At Zensar, you get the opportunity to work with amazing team members and will have a whole world of opportunity to reach your optimum potential. The reward and recognition mechanisms ensures that every Zensarian gets due credit for the work they perform. The focus on holistic development enables Zensarians to have meaningful and purposeful careers. If you have the ambition to be the very best version of yourself, then Zensar is the place to be.
Hey everyone, I hope you can hear me. All right. Hey everyone, I hope you can
You can
hear
hear
me.
us, right?
Can you hear us?
I can hear you. I see my voice coming back. So
Yeah, I think you must be able to hear us now.
Okay. Tell him to start.
We can start now, Aman, if you can hear me.
all right.
Okay, he can hear us.
I hope you can see my screen. Is the presentation visible? Just to get a quick check before we start. All right. I think we are good. All right. Hey everyone. I hope you had a great learning experience in the previous workshops. I'm Aman Rao, and I'm being joined with my colleague Manik. I'm sure he's around somewhere. And we both are part of a team that maintains and actively develops on the Cosmos DB JavaScript SDK. And today we'll give a hands-on experience on how easy it is to build applications using Copilot. And we'll be showing that by live building a simple to-do Node.js app with Copilot. And I mean, yeah, it would have been a way more fun and way more interactive if we were physically present there. But we'll do the best we can, and we'll try to make this session as interactive as possible. All right, let's get started then. Yeah. All right. I'm sure most of you must have heard or used Copilot, right? I hope everyone is raising their hands up there. And so, just in a nutshell, like Copilot is your AI programming buddy who has always got your back, right? And is always eagerly ready to help you. Whether it's the code completion, if you are writing the code, it will automatically suggest some of the suggestions. Or if you're too lazy and don't want to write code, you just give your comment what you want to write, but code you want to write, and it will automatically throw suggestions. If you want some documentation for some code, it will analyze that code and provide you with some documentation for that. And a lot, like for example, if you want to refactor something, it will definitely help you in that case. And let's be honest, like I'm sure pretty much all of us don't like writing test cases, right? Well, Copilot actually helps there also. It analyzes the code and writes all the test cases for you, and we'll shortly see all of this in action. All right. Before after that, let's start with the what is Cosmos DB? All right. I'm sure most of you must have heard also about Cosmos DB, just like Copilot. Cosmos DB is a database offering by Azure, and which has different flavorings like Cosmos DB NoSQL API, MongoDB API, and for this application that we are building, we'll be talking more about the NoSQL API. All right. Cosmos DB is a database that can help you building all these small applications. That an example being that the one that we are building today, all the way to building planet level scale applications, which most of our customers do. And okay, anyone wants to take a guess, or let's say if anyone, how many of you must have? I'm sure like pretty much all of you must have used ChatGPT, right? And yeah, I mean, I'm assuming like all of your hands must be raised up right now. And yeah, so chat GPT, you must have seen on your left hand side some chat, like all your previous conversation history, right? Wherever like you can seamlessly go back to some conversation and pick up from that particular point of time all that conversation context and everything. So that all that chat history that you communicate with the chat GPT to get it to try and get your answers is actually getting used, actually getting stored in Cosmos DB. So OpenAI actually uses the Cosmos DB as a chat store. All that history and every chat is actually getting stored in the Cosmos DB. And OpenAI chose Cosmos DB as their database, as we provide like very different configuration options. Like we have serverless, or we have provision throughput. Like you pay just what you use for, or you pre-configure some throughput and keep using that. If your some of the regions actually get a heavy traffic suddenly, then you can actually configure dynamic auto scaling or the instant auto scaling. We provide low latency and real-time database transactions. We provide mission critical reliability, and all these things like prompt customers like OpenAI to actually use Cosmos DB. Right. So, as we told in our intro that we are the maintainers and the developers of Cosmos DB JavaScript SDK. You can actually find it on the NPM. It goes by the name of Azure Cosmos. And you can find a screenshot here for NPM. We are almost hitting 500,000 weekly downloads every week for our SDK. And you know what the best part for this SDK is? It's actually open source, fully open source. Like you can look at all the source code for that. If you want to ever feel like contributing to an open source project, feel free to use to contribute to our project. If you feel like there is a bug, or if you want to request a feature, feel free to do that there. Or if you want to feel raise a PR for some issue or some add-on, feel free to do that, and we are very happy to take on those contributions. uh, and then some of the features of our SDK are that we provide like our SDK is like built on Fluent API design. We provide all the enhanced security and compliance. We support all the modern JavaScript and TypeScript features. All the features that are actually built in the backend, so that the customers can use. We actively develop them on the on to introduce the support for that on our SDK, and all that like we are doing in a day-to-day job. So like if you ever feel like contributing to that, then yeah, this is the SDK is the way to go. All right. So what we will be doing today. What we are planning to do is like we'll build a small to-do app with the help of Copilot, and we have done most of the work using Copilot, obviously. And so like all the core functionality, all the so our app consists of two things: one, an Angular front end, and Express.js backend. So that front end, all that code has been written, and in the backend, like we have written the core functionality, all the routes and all are defined for the APIs. What is left is integrating Cosmos DB, or introducing a database service in our app, so that we can connect to Cosmos DB using the SDK that we talked about, and store all the to-dos and the task in the in our database, uh, and all this being done with the help of Copilot. Then once we are done with the code, we will do documentation using Copilot, and then as like good engineers do, will be writing test cases, and if time permits, we'll deploy it and see that app live. All right. uh, if anyone of you wants to follow along, I'll highly recommend that you can open this link, and this will guide you to I'll keep this on the screen for a few seconds so that people can note it down. Yeah, so what this app, what this repo links to is, just give me 1 second. I'll switch the screen to the, yeah. So when you open that window or that link that we provided, it actually redirects to your this page. I hope you're able to see that. Here are all the like eight steps, 1 to 8 being like intro, prep, overview of the project. So we'll walk through all of these. If you are not able to follow along in this workshop, then you can go back to this page and do this workshop on your own. We highly recommend doing that. All right. So in this workshop, as I already told you, we'll be building that app, and some of the prerequisite for that app are a GitHub account, as our code is stored on GitHub, and we will be actually requiring GitHub Copilot. So a GitHub account is required, and an Azure account is required, so that we can deploy Cosmos DB app. So once like if you have both of these, we can start get going with this. And yeah, all right. So I hope you can still see the screen. And this is the so if you go to this documentation and go to the preparation step, you'll see this open GitHub repository link. So once you open this, here this is the repo that we will be building on top of. And there are multiple ways to check out the code to start building on top of this. So one is that you can fork this up, and after forking, once you create this your own
Can you
fork.
zoom in a bit?
After this, like there are a few ways you could check it out. Like one is using the code spaces. So like that is an online development environment. You don't need to configure anything up. You can just simply create a fork and open that in your own code spaces and start developing on your own on the get-go. And this is what we will be actually doing. There are a few other methods that are actually mentioned in the document also. One being setting up dev containers. So like if you don't like online development environment, you can actually use our dev containers. It's basically all you need to do is install option, or if you want to go the hard way, you can actually take a local pull and then set up all the environment. I mean, the choice is yours. All right. So once you clone it up and open up in the code spaces, uh, this is this is kind of the window that you'll see. We already set it up in interest of time. I mean, it takes a couple of minutes to set it up, just so that it installs and does everything. So let's just wait for it to connect to the code spaces, and then we'll give a walkthrough of what all is there. Yeah.
Aman, can you zoom in a bit?
Sure. I hope it's visible now. All right. As you can see on the left side, like this is a mono repo that we have. We have a client and a server. So client, all this code is done in an Angular. This is an Angular app that is already built, and this is a server app. And we'll be adding all our code that we want to do in here. Like in the source, you can see we have models task. So this is a simple task, like a to-do or a task, which has an ID, a user ID, a title, and if it has been completed or not. Then you have routes where we have just a check that if the server is up or not. Then we have to get the task for a particular user. And if you want to post a task for a particular user, or if we want to get a task by its ID, or we want to change something in the current task, for example, if you want to mark that as a complete, or if you want to delete a task. So like these are some of the basic routes that are already defined here. All right. So yeah, now let's start coding up our application and how we can add a database service. So for that, first of all, like we talk about using our Cosmos DB package, right? So you can go to the server package and actually install that Cosmos DB package that we were talking about. And yeah, so this will take just a few seconds. Yeah, okay. So now we have installed our Cosmos DB package. And then let's create a new services module. And in that, we'll add a DB file. And this is where actually we'll be adding our DB service. And now we'll see the magic of Copilot, how easy it is to use that. So all we need to do is like give it a prompt that import the Cosmos DB SDK in the task model. And now let's wait for it to throw up those results. All right, let's just wait for it to run up. Yeah, now that we can see that, okay, it has done this and the task also. So it might take some time to initialize Copilot, but yeah, once it does, it starts throwing up the result. All right, now what do we do? Now we don't want to write code. We'll just give it a comment that we want to add a DB service class. And we want to connect to our SDK, or we want to use the SDK in such a way that if we give it an endpoint and a key, so that we will be able to connect to our database. So let's just give that comment to it and just wait for it to churn out some result. I hope the screen is visible and you guys are able to follow up along. All right, do we see anything? Okay, it has shown up some results. We have a DB service that it has defined. I hope this is not too blurred for you. I can try zooming it more. But yeah, it has defined a client, that is a Cosmos client, a container, then a constructor for this class, then 3 or 4 functions. It has added get task for a user. It created this create task, which takes in the user ID and the task. Along with that, getting a particular task and then update task, all these things. So I think, yeah, that looks good. I'll just press tab and it will return us all these things. All right. Yeah. So, I mean, we didn't have to code anything, right? We will just see what some of the errors we are getting. So if we hover just over this, okay. So basically it is saying that, okay, it is a possibility that the endpoint and these that we have defined here might be actually undefined, because like these environment variables might not be available. So what we can do is we will just ask it to place a check to, let's say, yeah, and if not, throw an error. So let's wait for it to add that, or we can manually edit if it doesn't do that. All right, okay, it's supposed to be in the constructor. I'll just add it there, or I can, yeah, let's do it like this. We have given the prompt. Let's wait for it to churn up something. Okay, I think there's some internet issue, but sure, I think if we add it manually also, this should be fine. Okay, once again, okay, let's add it up here. And we change the variable names a bit to this. Yeah, now we don't see that error here, right? Now that squiggly line is gone from here. All right. Now, what else do we see? Any other error or not? Let's just verify if everything is there as it is, as we expect it to be. There needs to be one change here. I'll just quickly add it. And yeah, I think thing looks fine. All right. So now what should we do? So as this is a DB class, we want it to be an static instance. For example, we want this to be a singleton class, so that like one. So as it's a good practice to have one instance of database class going around in the application, so that it's easier to manage it. And this is actually a good coding practice. So what we'll do is like we'll ask it to create a singleton instance of this class, and let's see what all code changes it does. All right. And okay, yeah. Now that you see that, okay, it has added a static method to get an instance of this DB service, and also added this instance here, and we just gave it a prompt. So let's clean it up a bit. Let's move this a bit below, so that we can have all these instances at the one place and that. So yeah, now that we have all these, let's ask it to document this class. So okay, we just added those comments, and it is automatically suggesting these things. And let's say what is a class about. Provides methods to interact with Azure Cosmos DB. Then what does it do? Let's write methods. We want to explain all the methods, right? So it automatically gave what all these methods are doing. Yeah, I mean, these are the four. Then static if you want to declare, and then some example if you want to give. But I think, yeah, in interest of time, I think this should be fine. So now we have a DB service, which is a static and has all the APIs that are required. And so do we get any issue here? Let's just verify it once that everything is working fine. All right. So task we have provided it. User ID we have provided. I think we don't need this, as task would already be consisting of the user ID. All right. Let's just go over these one by one. So get task is one where we'll fetch all the tasks for a particular user. Then we have a create task, which will take in a task and create that task in the backend. Then we have a get task, which will be taking an ID of that task and returning that back. And we'll have an update task, which will update that particular task. It will be basically fetching up that ID and replacing that up. So okay, one thing I see missing here is delete task. Let's quickly ask it to add it up. And okay, yeah. I mean, we just gave it a delete task, and it understood, okay, that delete API needs to be called for this container, or from the Cosmos DB container. All right. Yeah, I think we are good on the DB service. Now, let's add some test cases for this, I think, if we have time. So we'll create a new db.spec.ts, and so we'll be actually using a jest framework for writing a unit test. So I'll, in the interest of time, I'll quickly add up some of the dummy code for it, and I'll just replace these. Yeah. So what all? So as we have already added one test case that it should get all tasks for a user, but else should be. But else does Copilot suggest us now? It should be okay. It's throwing that should create a new task for a user. All right, let's see what it writes in this one. It got a DB service, added a task. All right. Let's see what else it suggests. Should get a task by ID. All right. Should update a task by ID. Okay. And yeah, should it delete? Okay, this is also good as it should throw an environment variable error if environment variable are not set. Let's see what it does. Okay, it deleted those. So in the test case, it is showing that, okay, we should delete those environment variables and then expect it to throw a result. We can add it up. Should delete a task. All right. Yeah. Did something not close up properly? Yeah. Okay. All right. So I mean, this way, it also added the test case, and we, I mean, it just took a minute, right? I mean, we just need to just check if everything is working fine or not, and then yeah, this way, you can see how useful Copilot is, right? And how easy it is to for it to understand if everything is working fine or not. All right. So now that we have our DB class and we have our test cases, let's go to this roots, right? Like we have written that DB class, but we need to use that somewhere, right? All right. So let's move to this section now. What we'll do is like we'll quickly import our DB service, and then let's get to the first task, like get user ID and task. So it's basically a get task from database, right? So what we can do is we'll call our DB service, we'll get instance and get task of user ID. So what does it throw? All right. So it got some error. We just prompted to the Copilot to fix that error, and yeah, it did. All right. So moving to the next one. This is a create call or a post call. Let's see what it throws up. Okay. It just written this up that we'll get. So this is basically your calling your static class, right? Like getting an instance of that static class and calling a create task for that. So now that we are our post and get is done, let's see what the next one is. Okay, so this is like getting a task for a particular ID from a particular ID. So we'll call the get task method for that one. And yeah, this is simply done here. Let's see what should we do. So okay, this is a patch. Like if you want to update any task, so first we need to get that task from that database, and then once we have got that, we are marking it completed field of that task here. So initially, like any data task that is created has not been completed, so that completed field is false in that one. So once we have fetched that data, we have marked that completed, so we need to store it again in our database, right? So we'll just call that update task here. And yeah, so that way, like our 4 APIs are done, just one is left of deleting it. So how should we delete it? We'll call await. Yeah, as simple as that. All right. So now we have our all the APIs ready and our database class ready and everything. Let's try to run it up and let's see if it works or not. All right. One thing I'm sure like pretty much of you must have also seen is that we are talking about environment variables, but there is no way we have defined any way to read these environment variables, right? So what we can do is like, okay, we have already created a .env class, which has both the environment variables, Cosmos DB endpoint and Cosmos DB key, which are actually used to connect to the database. And what we'll do is we'll quickly install the .env package. into the server. All right. So now it has added that package. We'll quickly ask Copilot to import it. Import .env from .env and .env.config. Okay, it kept them in comments, but let's quickly uncomment those. Okay, so now we'll be able to read up these environment variables also. So now that we have our app ready and both of these things ready, let's try to fire it up and let's see if we face any bugs or that. Okay, so I think in interest of time, what we'll do is like we'll locally deploy it. Deploy it instead of deploying it to Azure. But as you can see in those steps here, we also have methods to set up like our Azure account and everything, and how easy it is to write CI YAML, our YAML file also using Copilot. That will be actually used to deploy the application. And if you want to follow along, we'll just in interest of time, we'll be showing a local deployment, but you can follow this step 7 in this demo, in this documentation to actually deploy it in the prod. And it's actually very simple to do also. All right, we'll go to the main here and do npm run dev. And hopefully it will fire up the application. So we have configured it to use 3000 port for the back for the server application and 4200 for the front end. And we'll quickly try to make a call to the front end and let's see if everything is working fine. Okay, I'll open this in a terminal. Copy this. I'll paste this up here. It should be some port forwarding doing. Let me quickly check if I can open that link. I'll run it again and okay, let's open this. Let's see if it opens up. All right, let's do hello everyone, or what should be a good to do? Give a workshop on Copilot. And yeah, so it added it here. So what we should do is like we should quickly see in our Cosmos DB if that item has been added. Here, okay. So what it did was like this is a Cosmos DB portal where you can actually see all your data and everything. Let me zoom in it on it. So yeah, you can see the title, you can see the user ID. It just created one random ID, the code that did. Completed is currently marked as false. So what we'll do is we'll try to update it and let's see if that code flow is working fine. So what I'll do is like I'll tick mark it, and hopefully in the backend, if we go back here and try to fetch those items again. Yeah, so the completed is marked as true now. So in the actual like backend, all this data is getting updated. So if I try to create one more, let's say, thanks everyone or something like that, if I add it, it should be getting reflected in our database also. So if I try to fetch all the items again and check this one, thanks everyone. So this is actually marked as false right now. And if once I do a tick mark there, it will update in the database also. And if you try to refresh it, it will again fetch all the data here. And there should be some filters also here. Okay, yeah, like if show all the active tasks and the completed tasks. So in the backend, like so there's a logic if mark is completed is true, it is skipping that, and that in that way. So we can also filter it. So yeah, this was the app that we built, and this is like a very simple to-do app. what we wanted to show with this was how easy it is to use Copilot and actually connect with the Cosmos DB. And you can actually build a lot more complex application that we are actually building in real world. And yeah, that was all from us. I'll just go back to my presentation once. Give me 1 second.
Can you hear me, Aman?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do we have any questions for Aman here? Yeah, one question. Let me know when you can't hear us.
Yeah, I can hear you.
In the code repo, I saw annotations used. I'm new to that ecosystem actually. So what are these annotations and how they are, where they are used and how they are implemented?
Did you hear that question, Aman?
Sorry, his voice. I was not able to hear. If you could repeat.
So, yeah, how do you use annotations? Like, what are annotations and how are you using them?
Sorry, which annotations are we talking about?
In the main API routes that you were showing us in that
Right.
section.
Do you mean the prompts that we were using?
Probably that is.
Sorry, I think there's some audio issue. I'm not properly able to hear.
Okay, your screen is not visible, first of all, and it could be props. I'm not aware of what it is called because I'm new to that concept, basically.
Okay. 1 second. But I'll do is like I'll post one QR code here. And if you could
You
just
wanna
scan
share your screen?
all. I'll just try to connect it once again.
Yeah.
If let me know whenever it is visible.
Let me know, Aris.
Yeah, 1 second. Can you share the screen again? If you press present.
You wanna press present, I think, to share your screen.
Let me. Is it visible now?
No, I don't think so.
That
Is it?
here it is sharing your screen.
Yeah. Okay,
Okay.
you're on screen now.
All right. So I think there's some. I'm not able to hear him properly. If you all like, if you have any questions, you could scan this QR code, and we'll be happy to answer you.
Okay.
Yeah, just fill your query here. I think in the interest of time, let's do it this way.
Yeah, you can ask me. So, do you have time to answer some questions still, or?
I think, I mean, it depends on Aris. If you are good with the time, I think, yeah, we'll be happy to answer your questions.
Hi, so am I audible now?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was asking, you had used annotations in the route section. So could you help us understand more about what are the annotations doing there and how they are being used? I'm new to that concept, so I was curious to understand about them.
Okay, so one thing is that this we built using TypeScript. So if you by that, like if you're talking about these annotations, let me know whenever you can see the screen. Okay, which annotations are we talking about?
At the beginning, there were some annotations like, yeah, this @class this.
Okay, these are mostly like prompts, like a way to define the documentation. Like this is a method and this is a complete class. Like about class, it will throw a description about the class. So this is mostly the documentation, like about this DB service. Like it doesn't have to do exactly much with the exact code. It's most about like what all our functions are in this class and what this class is supposed to do.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Anyone else have any questions? No? Okay. Thanks, Aman. Thanks for your talk. So looks like we don't have any questions right now for you.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Thanks everyone for your time. And please feel free to scan this QR code. If you have any other questions related to anything, I'll be happy to answer.
Cool. Aris, how do you want to proceed?
I think we can end it here because Shweta, I don't know, it doesn't work the connection.
Okay.
So we have to end it.
All right, let's just clap for Aman one last time. Yeah, thank you for being a great audience. I know that it was a bit difficult because we had a few people joining.